Hey, it's Em. Hopefully this will be a short one. I know I've put out a lot lately, so you guys are probably sick of me, but I did finish reading another book called KAKIGORI Summer by Emily Itami, and I wanted to talk about it, even if briefly. This is a book I found at the library. I picked it up on a whim. I had never heard of it. I've never heard of this author. I just thought it looked interesting. It is the story of three sisters. They're biracial. Their mom was Japanese. Their dad is from the UK. They grew up in Japan with their mom. Well, I say that. It's complicated because a lot of the story revolves around them dealing with the fact that their mom disappeared. Presumably drowned when the oldest was 14 and the youngest was 5. So what we have are these three sisters. Ray is the oldest. She's now, I want to say probably late 20s, 28, 29, maybe even 30. There's a middle sister, Kiki, who is a single mom. And there's the youngest Ai, who is 22, I think. She is a J-pop star. And that's probably what made me pick the book up when I read the flap, because the setup is that I, the youngest, is caught in a scandal, and the two other sisters need to rush in and help, support, whatever. Ray, the oldest, type A, very much the caretaker, but lives in the UK, works in the financial district, the city, as they call it. And she had been seriously dating a guy and then broke it off like 5 years previously because she was just convinced it couldn't work, even though they love each other. I don't know. I didn't fully understand the explanations involved in that. So she needs to fly back to Japan to help deal with Ai's crisis. Kiki, who is works at a nursing home, is what we would refer to it as, care home in Tokyo, and has like a 5-year-old son out of wedlock, the product of a one-night stand. Hikaru. I had a moment. I was like, what was that kid's name? He is fair because the dad was some kind of Nordic-esque looking guy that she met briefly, had like a fling with. But the sisters also talk about feeling like when they're in Japan, people look at them funny because they're biracial, they're tall and I guess fairer than, most Japanese people might be. So they often get looked at kind of funny. And then when they speak perfect Japanese and everything, people get flustered, I guess. Ray goes home. Kiki also, they're trying to lay low, but obviously Tokyo is not the place for it. So they go back to this little town, Ikimura, where they grew up with their oba-chan, their great-grandmother. And they move back into the old family house. It's interesting because the grandmother lives next door. There's their old house and then the grandmother's house, all kind of on the same piece of property, is my understanding. And it's near the water, the very water that their mother disappeared into. Her shoes were found on the beach. So the question is, was it intentional? Was it not? Their mother had some mental health problems. So, Ray thinks the mother left them. Kiki prefers to think it was an accident, that she drowned, but she was trying to come home to them. There was no note, so maybe, right? And there's always just a chance, I guess, that she's out there alive somewhere. But the upshot of this is the three sisters reconnecting, living together. The little boy is there. They run into men that they had grown up with when they were younger. So there's a romance between Kiki and one of those guys. Is there plot? Not a ton. The chapters are told from different points of view of the sisters. You'll have a chapter that's Ray and a chapter that's Kiki, and so you're getting various POVs. Ai's chapters are kind of fluffy, but also philosophical, like deep introspection, questions of the universe kind of stuff. And then Kiki and Ray honestly don't sound super distinct to me. They have, I guess, similar personalities in that they're both pretty stubborn, but Ray's used to being in charge because she's the oldest. It's a very, women's fiction, I guess. I think I thought it was going to be a little more hijinksy, given that they were trying to like protect the youngest sister or whatever. But it's actually, I mean, it's fairly sedate. It was okay. It wasn't a book that I felt like I needed to rush back and keep reading, but I didn't mind picking it up at night right before bed kind of thing. So I gave it 3.3 stars. It was fine. I'm not sorry I read it or anything, but there wasn't like a whole lot to it. Just story-wise, it was just, and them, battling their great-grandmother who was a cantankerous old lady and rehashing old things and having different memories of things that had happened when they were younger. Oh, this is how I remember it. And then, also them just trying to get Ai out of her funk because she's depressed after basically, losing her job as a J-pop star. So, but Ai's probably the least interesting character of all of them. We don't get as much time with her. Maybe she would have been more interesting if we had had more time with her. I don't know. But even the time we spent in her head was not... I don't know how to describe it. You'd have to read it for yourself. It was fine. This book was fine. It was fine if you like that kind of thing. But if you want a book where stuff is actually happening, this is, like I said, it's very, just family dynamic introspection kind of thing. There's not I thought there would be more story around them having to get the sister out of the J-pop crisis, and honestly that was just wallpaper for everything else. So it was kind of the reason for them to come together, but it was not the reason for the story, if that makes sense. I have since picked up All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby? I don't know. I can't ever remember if there's an R in it or not. I had tried to read Razorblade Tears and didn't get super far into it, but I'm enjoying this one more. I've also picked up Queen of the Damned again, trying to remember what was going on in that, because it was about not quite halfway through it when I gave it a rest in my last reread attempt. And I'm not going back to the beginning, so I'm picking... the bookmark was still in it, so I'm like, okay, we'll just see what we can remember here. I do have a poll on the channel saying, should I read next? Should I finish my reread of Queen of the Damned? Should I go back and finish reading the Iliad? I do plan to do that. I want to do that before the end of the year because I want it to be the classics square on my bingo board. But yeah. And that's it for now. Until next time, take care.